2023 is coming to a close, or maybe it's already over, depending on when you're seeing this. And we're jumping on the bandwagon and going through our top 5 favorite pieces of gear or brands from this past year.
Yeah, a lot of really great stuff came out this year. We got to play so much cool gear, so many cool guitars, pedals, amps, but we can only play so much. So if there's stuff you guys found that really impressed you this year, we want to know about it. Let us know in the comments. Who knows? Maybe it's something we end up carrying here.
Yeah.
In 2024.
The stuff that is on our list is all stuff from Distinctive Guitars. So we didn't branch out or anything from outside the shop. So it's all brands that we carry and that you can currently get here. But yeah, so also while you're watching, please like and subscribe. It really helps us. We put a lot of work into our YouTube videos this past year and just hoping to grow it even more as we progress. But yeah, let's jump in.
My number 5, starting it off, is Supro amps. The brand as a whole, really. This year, for 2023, they came out with their Made in USA line. So right here, we've got the Delegate, which is a 1x12. Sounds incredible. Such a great amp.
Great pedal platform.
Yeah, perfect pedal platform. Supro's, I mean, they always play great with pedals, but yeah, these Made in USA ones just take everything up a notch. I'm a big fan of the Delegate. It's a 1x12. They also have the Ambassador, which is a 2x10. I haven't played that one yet, but judging by how much I like this one, I'm sure I'll love it just as much. Yeah, they just make killer stuff.
Yeah, it's really good. I feel like they bridge a good gap between like super high end and like bedroom players and stuff like that, because a lot of their stuff you can get real low volumes, low wattage. So if you're looking to get into the world of tube amps, Supro should definitely be something you consider, because they're not. This one's expensive, but they're not all crazy money. So
yeah, it's a good point, because breaking into tube amps, my first tube amp was a Blues Junior, and Supro makes the Delta King, which honestly, price point wise, it's right there with the Blues Junior. It's got a cool, tweed look, and it sounds amazing. I like it better. I know, sounds subjective, but
totally.
It's really cool. It's got a little dirt channel. You've got direct out on it if you want to record with it, and you need.
They look cool too,
Yeah.
Put them in your living room. It's not like it doesn't look. I mean, it looks like an amp, but it's got like a more artistic vibe to them. So.
There is a Supro amp in my living room right now, so I can attest to that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's my number 5.
Good pick.
Supro amps.
Cool. All right. My top 5 for the year. I'm actually assembling a dream rig from the shop, and so I'm starting with the Mythos Fates pedal, which is their latest pedal. It just came out this past year, and it is a chorus pedal based on the Boss C2. You're a big fan of chorus, I know, as well.
Big fan. Yeah. This might be somewhere on my list at some point.
All right, that's good to know.
See.
Yeah, it's a good pedal. I think it can go anywhere from being your sort of always on, just thicken your sound, kind of sound, all the way to something kind of crazy. You can really crank and get a lot of range out of the chorus and vibrato sounds. So yeah, I don't have anything but praise for the Mythos line of pedals. I think they all sound incredible, but this one was a real standout to me this past year. So yeah,
they're great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of these.
Cool. All right, let's go on to number 4.
Awesome. All right, my number 4 is chorus pedals. So this year was a great year for chorus pedals. A lot of really cool stuff came out. My first favorite, I guess, was the Beetronics CB. This thing is just ridiculous. It does all your classic chorus and vibrato sounds, but it also has this really cool arpeggiator in it, and it can just get completely out of control. There's so many layers to it, but if you spend a little time, you can learn it really fast with a lot of the Beetronics pedals. It doesn't take much. Once you kind of get the setup, it all comes together, it all makes sense, and you can start creating some really cool sounds. Beyond that, we've got the Fates. Again, Frank already said
it's a good one.
This is one of his favorites. It's one of mine too. If I didn't already get the CB, and if I didn't already have a CE2, this would be on my board, guaranteed. I probably prefer this a little over the CE2. I think when you push it to the extremes, it's a more usable sound, at least for what I'm going for. I think Mythos did a great job tweaking that. Yeah, it's a great alternative. if you want something similar but just different enough.
Yeah, those are cool.
They're cool. And other noted chorus pedals, we don't carry them, but the Jackson Audio New Wave came out this year. Matthews Effects Botanist is another new release. Really cool chorus effects in that. And as well as, I guess we do have this one, Crazy Tube Circuits had the Sidekick Junior, which is delay, reverb, and modulation, which includes a really great chorus that you can just tap on and mix it into all your time-based effects, and it sounds cool. It's such a good year for chorus.
That's true.
So that's my number 4, chorus pedals.
Sweet. Number 4 for me, in my top 5 kind of rig of this year, is the Surf Rider from Solid Gold Effects. This isn't a new pedal for this last year, but the brand is new to our shop. We just started carrying them. They're a Canadian company, and they just are making incredible stuff. This pedal in particular, when I plugged it in for the first time, I just got lost in it. It is just so luscious, and it also doesn't you don't feel like you're playing a reverb pedal. You feel like you're playing in a huge room. It's just incredible. I think if you're looking to add reverb to your rig, if you don't have an amp with reverb, I can't recommend anything higher than this. It sounds so incredible to me.
It's really good. It's probably my favorite spring reverb. I usually opt for like a plate. That's my sound, but this has me completely considering having a spring option like this somewhere in my rig, because the 3 different tanks I really like. Like you said,
really shapeable. Yeah,
it sounds awesome.
Yeah, and we've sold them to different kind of players, and people have been in trying them out. Everybody who comes in here, a lot of times we'll have this on our kind of board for our appointments and stuff, and it's a pedal that everybody's like, whoa, this reverb, I gotta check this out. So can't say enough good things about Solid Gold Effects. Check them out if you haven't, especially the Surf Rider pedal. That's my number 4.
All right, my number 3. We're on to guitars finally.
You are.
I am. I'm picking Tom Anderson guitars as a brand. I'm keeping it broad because I have trouble narrowing things down, it seems. But they're just incredible all year. Every guitar we got from them, I feel like every box we opened, we're like, man, this is just an incredible guitar.
They're a great company.
I mean, the people there are awesome. I think that goes a long way. I mean, almost everyone we work with is pretty amazing. Actually, everyone. When I said that, I'm like, I don't know who is it. Yeah. Everyone's great, but just working with the guys at Tom Anderson and just getting such cool stuff, being able to spec everything just the way we like it. For me, it's kind of the perfect mix. They're modern guitars, but they retain just enough of that vintage feel. The pickups have just enough of that vintage bite still left in them that it can just cover so much territory, and you can get everything,
7 strings are new for this year.
Yeah, so, 7 strings came out. That's a big deal. I'm still struggling with 6, so it'll be a minute, but I can't say enough good things about Tom Anderson. So, that's my number 3, Tom
Sweet.
Anderson guitars.
Number 3 for me is another pedal. So this completes my pedal portion of my top 5 rig of the year. And I had to pick the Beetronics Nectar. I would stand this up, but it would fall forward because it's a cool little wedge enclosure. This pedal is incredible. I think if you're trying to make a compact board and you want a do-it-all drive pedal, this is it. It has a overdrive side, and you flip the toggle, and you got a fuzz. It sounds amazing. It's compact. Beetronics does a great job with their artwork. I think the fact that they do kind of like I don't know if it's like a 3D printed kind of plastic cover with this cool engraving on it. It just looks incredible. The circuit boards are really cool. But all the flash aside from the design, it is by far one of the best sounding pedals to me. I think if you want to break up, a clean amp, this can do it. If you want to, even saturate your already drive section even more, this can do it. The fuzz is great. To me, it's definitely a pedal I'm considering picking up for my own personal board. I'm not sure why I haven't yet, but it sounds great. And Beetronics is really cool. They're made in California. They've been a brand we've had for a little over a year now. And you mentioned the CB. They have a great lineup of pedals. I think if you're looking for Fuzz, that's a great avenue to go down because they got some really cool stuff. Something simple as like an octave fuzz, all the way to a crazy swarm is what they call it, like noise making machines. So check out Beetronics if you haven't, and especially check out the Nectar if you're looking for a drive and a fuzz in one. That actually sounds amazing. Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is Fano Guitars. I was so impressed with Fano this year. I was tempted to put this as my number 1, but alas, it is my number 2. They're just building such good stuff now. If you're not familiar with Fano, every guitar they make is made by one builder, start to finish, and that really shows in how good these guitars are. I'm such a fan of them. I've played them all. I've played Dennis Fano built guitars. I've played Premier Builders Guild era guitars. I've played everything that came after that. So from every iteration, whoever was building them, I've played them, and I think right now these are the best guitars Fano has put out since Dennis himself was building them. They play amazing. The builders they have there are just doing awesome things, and you get such a good bang for your buck.
Yeah.
The Ultra line, you have some customizability there. Not a ton, but it still lets you design a guitar just for yourself.
Yeah.
And you can get it at an affordable price, and if you want, you can upgrade to an Altafacto and spec pretty much anything under the sun, throw a mastery on it. Exotic woods, whatever pickups you want. Strange, funky configurations.
Yeah. They have more shapes, body shapes, I feel like, than a lot of other brands too. Like they have a vast selection of styles, inspired by kind of.
They do, and it's a lot of stuff that is not typical. Like you're not there specking Strat and Tele clones.
Yeah.
You can get a Mustang, you can get, Jazzmaster, you can get other funky offset stuff.
Yeah. Even their T type isn't really the T type.
I don't even consider it. Yeah, it's T
single cutty kind of
T in shape, but like they're just so unique. They play so well. I really like them. That's my number 2, Fano Guitars.
My number 2 pick, which completes my rig as far as the post guitar part of it, is the Tone King Royalist. This is the Mark III, so they've had 2 other iterations before this that I've never got to play, but this really impressed me, and to be honest, it was a huge eye-opener for me for the range of tone that Marshall amps gave, and this is inspired by 3 different Marshalls. It's the 64, the 67, and the 70. So there's 3 different voicings. We don't have to get into that. They're very different kind of Marshall-inspired sounds, but you get a range from like super clean to kind of a crunchy to like your typical what you sort of, or I guess what I sort of think of when I think of Marshall, which is that kind of gainy kind of, for me, late 90s-y rock sort of tone. But this thing is just incredible. I think if you're not familiar with Tone King, the features are amazing. It's a 2-channel amp. Both channels have the switch to switch between those 3 voicings, and each channel has its own attenuator. So if you're playing in an apartment or you're doing club gigs or anything like that, an attenuator is a life-saving kind of tool to be able to get good tone, to be able to crank your amp without having it just on one and getting those kind of weak sounds. I can't recommend it enough. Takes pedals well. There's also, I think, line out. Yeah, there's a line out on this. So if you need to record or you want to send something in front of house for your gigs, depending on, it's a really versatile amp.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I like it. The dual attenuators is huge. It's so fun to leave one. You can leave one wide open, and you can have this just sparkly, clean channel, and then you can gun your second channel, like blast your ears out, and then just crank that attenuator, and you can drop the volume to something more manageable, but get all that natural crunch in it still.
It's super cool. And if it's unique, I think there's a lot of kind of Fender-y type, clones out there, and certainly a bunch of Marshall stuff too, when you look at other brands. But for me, Tone King has always kind of been a more clean amp kind of thing, and them coming up with the Royalist, and for me, this is the first one I've ever seen and played. it just really impressed me. So if I was going to go gigging and I could afford to buy a whole new rig, I would definitely grab one of these. It does come in a combo as well, which is what I've used more.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of combos. I think, if you're gigging and stuff like that on a lower level, it's a lot simpler than lugging around a cabinet. But some people like the head. So that's my number 2 is the Tone King Royalist.
My number 1 piece of gear for 2023 has to be the return of diamond pedals. We were a diamond pedal dealer for a while, but once COVID hit, it's like the brand just disappeared. Don't know what happened. Couldn't get any more. Couldn't get a hold of anyone. And we thought that was the end of the story. We were really bummed. But Solid Gold Effects, we got to give a huge shout out to them. Fellow Canadian brand, they reached out and they said they're reviving them. And that's exactly what they did. We weren't sure what it was going to be. Is it going to be an exact clone of the originals? Is it going to be a new take? Is it going to be just a brand grab where it's something completely different, just with the diamond name slapped on it? And we were totally impressed when they came in. A nice solid core of pedals to start. A couple of the classics, the compressors, the trem, the memory lane. My favorite delay ever made is the memory lane. And they did a great job replicating it. We did a
shootout
video. We shot out.
They sound the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
The new memory lane against my original one, and you can't tell the difference. It's insane. They've added some really cool features to these too, as well as going with vertical enclosures, top mount jacks, a lot of stuff that made, the original diamond pedals sounded amazing, but they weren't always
kind of big and clunky.
Yeah, that great on your board. And this took care of that, and they're such great representations of what diamond was, and I'm really excited to see what else they release going forward. I know they're working on some other classic diamond pedals and bringing them back out, so hopefully 2024 they stay on the list, because they're awesome. Cool. That's my number 1, diamond pedals.
And my number 1 pick is Rock and Roll Relics as a whole. Surprise, surprise. I've never connected with the guitar more than Rock and Roll Relics. I have some other guitars, from my years of playing, but I have a Thunders Custom that I bought last year, I think. Or maybe it was the year before. No, I think it was last year. Yeah, 2022. And it is my number 1. It is the guitar I gig with, I record with, I do everything with that guitar. I love it. I didn't pick a specific guitar because we've had some come and go through the shop, but just some kind of highlights. Their Revenge model, I think, is one of the coolest new shapes for guitars. It's unique. It's like a modern classic to me. It looks incredible. It's a little offset, a little single cutty. It's a beautiful guitar, and we've had a few of them come through the shop. They're great. The people there are amazing. It's really fun to work with Billy. I had the pleasure of meeting him this past year at Summerfest. He came to town, and I got to hang out with him a bit, so that was really great. But yeah, if you're looking for a Gibson-inspired guitar, they also do some kind of Fender-inspired stuff. They have like a T-shape that we actually have one right behind me here that is by far one of my favorite guitars in the shop. Someone should buy it before I do. But they're incredible. I think it's important as a guitar player, as a musician, to find a guitar that you connect with, and Rock and Roll Relics 100% is that brand for me. So yeah, I don't have anything more to say about them. I'm excited to get more of them, hopefully in the future, but they're just such a standout to me. So check them out if you haven't. And
they're great. You definitely like them more than any other guitar. There's
true.
No hiding that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I wear my heart on my sleeve when it comes to guitars, and I'm okay with it.
They're great though. I even like them. They're like kind of their, like you said, Gibson inspired stuff. I playing Strats and Jazzmasters. Like I can never find single cuts I'm that comfortable with.
And that one that we have here.
But the stuff they put out, I pick up and I'm like, this is perfect. Now I get it. That shows a lot.
They do a lot, and if you're a fan of Gibson guitars, I think that the Rock and Roll Relics has corrected some of the things that are maybe problematic. Their headstock angle is a lot better, and there's a build quality there that I think nothing, not to rip on any other brands, but I think their build quality is just exceptional when it comes to this type of guitar. But yeah, that's That's my number one pick. So I got a full rig pick.
All right, nice. And we're gonna do some honorable mentions here to wrap it up. But
let's do it.
It was a really great,
great year of gear.
Yeah.
All right, honorable mentions.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's tough to narrow things down to 5. But yeah, this stuff just barely missed out. I think my first honorable mention is Sir's PT15.
We use this a lot.
IR. This amp was used for almost every demo video we did this year.
Yeah.
Obviously not the amp demos of other amps, but
guitars, pedals, everything we did.
It takes everything. It does so well, and it's got direct out with its own IRs built into it. It's the all-in-one tool.
And I would say, to speak for both of us, we're not really IR direct guys on our personal level or when we play our own gigs and stuff. But so it was kind of easy to dive into this. I feel like the IRs are simple. You don't have to load anything on a computer. Right. It's just press a button to select. And
at the front end, it's just a 3-channel tube amp with great sounds all across the board. You got great cleans. You got really good crunch, and then you've got a high gain channel. It does everything. I mean, that's really all you can say about it.
I feel like we both talked about getting one of these, for at-home use and stuff. It's just such a practical thing.
Go watch Pete Thorne demo this, not us, and then you'll realize why you need one.
Yeah. All right, that's a good one. My number one, these aren't in any particular, but the first one I'll talk about is the Paoletti 131. We'll show some close-ups here. This guitar, I don't know that it's not necessarily a new model, but it's to me it's new. I hadn't seen anything really like this before. It's kind of a SG shape, but it's a bolt-on, and Paoletti guitars are just incredible. And to be honest, when we saw these, it wasn't really my thing when I saw like pictures of it. And then when they got to the shop, they play incredible, and we've sold like 2 or 3 of them before. We have one in stock right now, and to me, it's just been a standout guitar that it sounds good. The build quality is amazing from Paoletti, but I just really like it, and I think it's unique, but also kind of familiar and kind of like a lot of the Paoletti stuff. But this model in particular has really impressed me.
They're cool. Yeah, my latest guitar of the month was a Paoletti. Yeah. They're great. I love them.
Made in Italy, great guitars.
Yeah.
Cool. Next?
Yeah, my next honorable mention, it has to be the Imperial Mark II Fuzz from Solid Gold Effects. Mostly because it has faders. But no, it's such a great fuzz pedal. When we got Solid Gold Effects this year, we got a ton of pedals, and we're just trying them all out. And this stood out from the moment I first plugged it in. It's got a really great gate to it that doesn't impede much at all. Right. It's perfectly set, and I actually don't like anything I said here.
Oh, nice. That's fine.
So
we'll just chop and go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My next runner-up is this.
This SGFX, as we call it in the
IMIC 2.
Imported from Canada.
All right. My next runner-up, or honorable mention.
All right.
No, it's an honorable mention. Runner-up would be like my second pick.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
All right. My next honorable mention has to be the Imperial Mark II Fuzz, because it has faders on it. But honestly, it's such a good fuzz. The second we got in our first Solid Gold Effects order this year, this is the pedal that stood out to me. It sounds awesome. It has a nice gate on it that gets rid of all the extra noise, but it just sounds incredible.
Yeah. They make great stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'd compare it to. It's not, it's not a tone bender. It's not a fuzz face. It's not a big muff. It's kind of its own thing to my ear, and I really like that. I picked one up. It's been on my board ever since.
Nice. That's a good pedal. I like this stuff. All right, my turn, I guess. My next honorable mention is the Disturbance from Death by Audio. It is the shiniest pedal that we have in the shop by far. No, it was really fun. I'm a big fan of Death by Audio. I have a couple of their pedals on my board, And this one in particular is just like a creative kind of, I don't even, it's a phaser, flanger, filter pedal. And there's a lot of features and there's kind of some unique settings to it that, once you dive in, it's really simple to use. It's just, you start playing around with it. It's packed full of good sounds. It's a really good creative tool. I like a lot of the Death by Audio stuff because of that. It's not necessarily traditional sounds that you're going to, go play a blues gig with, but they will definitely spark something in you to write something different, to get you out of your comfort zone. So, that's a good pedal.
It's cool. Yeah, I think I don't think you'd ever see us just plug in a phaser and play guitar. Like, that's just not our sound. But when this came in, both of us were trying it out. And I know you especially. You were finding so many cool sounds in it. And it got me thinking too. I'm like, maybe I do need like a phaser flanger thing.
Filter,
Like,
It's got all three. So if you don't want to commit to one of those,
I know.
That's the pedal. And we did do a demo of it. So check that out. We kind of run through the three sounds more or less. Mm-hmm. But that's a good honorable mention for me.
It's a fun one. Yeah. My next honorable mention is the Crazy Tube Circuits Sidekick Junior. Yeah. New in a sense that they have a bigger version of the Sidekick that has more kind of direct. It has like direct out headphone options, a cab sim. Mm-hmm. This one's a little more streamlined, but it still has tons of features to it. It's still modulation, reverb, and delay.
Pedalboard friendly too.
Yeah, super friendly. Technically, I probably could have mentioned this with my chorus pedals, but the fact that it does so much more, I think.
It's a different level.
Yeah, it's really cool. Multiple reverb modes, multiple styles of delay. Yeah. And then you can add the modulation to either side, to both sides, whatever you want to do. It's so well laid out, and it packs so many cool sounds into such a small pedal.
Yeah, totally. My last honorable mention is as well a Crazy Tube Circus pedal, and I think this would have made the top 5, but we just got them. They just came out beginning of December, I think. It is the high power. Crazy Tube Circuits has done really well with these amp and pedal in a box kind of distortion, overdrive pedals, whatever you want to call them. And this is their latest one. It is based on a high watt amp and a color sound. What is it? The boost. Color sound boost on the other side. It's such a cool sound. It's based off of David Gilmour's tone, and it definitely has a lot of versatility to it. Check out, there's a bunch of demos out there. Pete Thorne did one, Sean Tubbs, I think. There's so many great players doing demos. One thing that we did do with like a Guitar of the Month video is we played this with the Sidekick Junior in the loop, and I couldn't stop playing it. It was such a fun sound.
The loop's really cool.
Yeah.
The loop lets you throw any effects in between the boost side and essentially the high watt side. So you're almost making your own effects loop between the pedal and the amp side of the pedal.
It's cool.
It's so cool. The high watt side sounds amazing. Yeah. I really like it.
I'm hoping to play with it more. We sold out of them right away, like we do a lot with these 2-in-1s. The Unobtainium would probably be up here, but we are out for like a completely time.
Out. Yeah, if you're not familiar, if you're not super familiar with Crazy Tube Circuits, this is part of a kind of a line they've been doing the last year or two now, where it's a 2-sided pedal. One side is like an iconic pedal sound. One side is an iconic amp sound. And you get an effects loop to throw anything in between.
And there's different versions. It's not like they just do, here's Tube Screamer, because they have one that has like a Tube Screamer inspired side, but it's like Tube Screamer Plus, so you can toggle their mode and get their version on it. Same with this. It's not like color sound and high power. I think the color sound side, you have like two different kind of versions of it. One is like when they had a power supply, and one is when they didn't. So it's different sounds. They're great for, shaping your tone, especially if you're like a clean amp kind of person.
Right. And the Unobtainium is like it's half clon, and then the amp side is a Dumble.
Fitting name.
Super cool combination, but it gives you, multiple styles of Dumble amp. And the clon side even has like traditional clon and modded clon. So you get way more than you're expecting out of these. So,
but that's a wrap. I mean, it's been a great year of gear. I think a lot of good stuff came out, and we've just seen a lot of cool guitars. But yeah, like and subscribe, share this video, and like Noah mentioned earlier, mention in the comments below if there's anything that really caught your eye this year, or more importantly, caught your ear. But yeah, thanks for watching, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.